If you're planning on becoming a Canadian permanent resident in 2025, then this is one of the surest and easiest way to achieve this goal. Out of the numerous immigration pathways that promises you a permanent residency in Canada in 2025, the Atlantic Immigration Program is one I would consider as one of the best. In this video, we're going to be breaking down what this program is all about, the eligibility criteria, the requirements, and everything you need to know about this pathway. Now, this will be taking off in January 2025, but it's important that you start now to get organized and put together your paperwork so that you'll be one of those early birds to make this application come January 2025. If you're ready, let's dive into this video. Hello lovelies, if you're seeing my video for the first time, my name is Njay. Thank you so much for watching, and to all my returning viewers, thank you for all your likes, your comments, your shares, for always coming back to support the channels. You guys are simply the best. Thank you so much. If you're yet to give this video a like, please do so YouTube can push this video to all the viewers, and as well put on your post notification bell so each time I upload videos, YouTube gets you notified. And if you're yet to subscribe to the channel, I recommend you do so that you don't miss out on all the valuable information that I put in the channel. Now, when we talk about the Canadian Atlantic, 4 provinces should come to your mind. That is New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland and Labrador, or Prince Edward Island. So these are the 4 provinces that you find under the Canadian Atlantic. Now let's dive into the eligibility criteria for this program, the Atlantic Immigration Program. And we have 4 basic criteria, which is 1, work experience, 2, educational requirements, 3, language requirements, and 4, proof of funds. Okay. Now, for educational requirements, you may need a credentialing assessment, okay? But we're going to go one by one and break all of these eligibility criteria down. Now, let's dive into work experience. For work experience, you must have in the last 5 years worked for at least 1,560 hours. Don't be panicking. That is only about 1 year, okay? 1 year experience if you are anywhere in a full-time job, or if you work even on the average 30 hours per week. Okay, so to calculate your hours, these are things you could do. Count hours worked in part-time and full-time jobs. Okay, count only paid hours of work. If you're doing volunteering or unpaid internships, those kind of work would not count, okay, towards your hours. And then if you were self-employed as well, it would not count as work experience. Okay, now count hours worked inside or outside Canada. Obviously, if you are applying outside Canada, your work experience do count towards this application. You must have been legally authorized to work in Canada as a temporary resident. That's if you're applying from inside Canada. Whatever work you're putting forward as your work experience, make sure that you were authorized or legally authorized to work as a temporary resident at the time when you did that work. That's the only way that work experience can count, okay? Now, count hours that were accumulated over a period of at least 12 months, okay? And then count work experience acquired while studying as long as the work hours don't exceed what was authorized. For example, if you are an international student in Canada and you have 20 hours approved for you to work, obviously that would be like the norm. Make sure that the hours you're presenting are within that time that you were legally authorized to work. Okay. Now, it's also important to make sure that your work experience matches, okay, what is required by the NOC, that's the National Occupational Classification System. At this stage, if you've been working hard on Canadian migration, then you should be really familiar with the NOC system, right? So if you're, for example, on the tier 1, which is for professionals, say you are a dentist, an architect, or a doctor, okay, you must make sure that you meet your job description that you're presenting as your work experience meet what is in tier 1, right? And as well, you make sure that you meet the academic requirement. For example, people in this category require a university degree, so you must make sure that you have a university degree for this, okay? It's important that you go back if you're not familiar with the NOC and have a real good understanding about it, because everything here would be connected to the NOC system. If you don't have a good knowledge of the NOC system, you may struggle to understand the whole thing, right? Again, for international graduates, this criteria of work experience is exempt for you. So you do not need to meet the work experience requirement if you are an international graduate who has a degree, a diploma, a certificate, or a trade or apprenticeship certification that took at least 2 years of studies or is from a recognized post-secondary institution in one of the 4 Atlantic provinces. Remember, we mentioned the provinces to be New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, or the Newfoundland and Labrador. Okay, now you must also make sure that you were a full-time student for the entire time you were studying for you to get this exempt of the work experience criteria. Okay, and then make sure as well that you lived in one of the following provinces for at least 16 months during the last 2 years before you graduated. Okay, and then you also had the authorization, obviously, or permits needed to work, study, or get training while you were in Canada, right? So I suppose this is very clear. Now let's dive into the educational requirement. For the educational requirements, again, it depends on your NOC system, okay? For example, if you are anywhere in tier 0 or 1, you must have a 1-year Canadian post-secondary educational credential or higher, okay? And if you have a job offer at the tier 2, 3, or 4 category, you must have a Canadian high school diploma or the equivalent from outside Canada. However, if you studied outside Canada, you would need an educational credential assessment. I said this before. Now, the most popular here would be WES, okay? But there are also lots of credentialing body that are accepted by the IRCC. So you may want to Google all of these and know which credentialing body you would prefer to go with. Okay, now let's dive into language requirement. For language requirement as well, this is also depending on your NOC, on your tier category. Okay, so you may be needing a CLB 4 or 5 depending on what tier category you belong to. If you belong to category 1, 2, or 3, then you need a CLB or NCLC. NCLC would be if you're writing French, and CLB would be for English speakers. So you may need either CLB or NCLC 5 for category 0, 1, 2, or 3. And then if your category tier 4, you would need CLB or NCLC 4. Okay, you must submit your results from a designated language testing organization with your application. These results must be less than 2 years old when you apply. Now let's look at the last criteria, which is settlement funds. You need to have enough money to support yourself and your family when you get to Canada. So the amount you need depends on the size of your family, obviously. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can have a look or have a detailed guide to how much is it exactly you need for proof of funds depending on the size of your family. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dependents, that will tell you how much you need as proof of funds. Now, if you're already in Canada, living and working in Canada with a work permit, then you do not need proof of funds. Obviously, that means you are near settled in Canada. You don't need proof of funds. And when I say this is about your best bet to a Canadian permanent residency in 2025, I mean every bit of it. Okay, and you have every time to start now and get organized and put all your paperwork together. About everything. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer all your questions. And if you're yet to give the video a like, please give the video a like, and I will see you in my next video. Stay safe and stay out of trouble.